Alright, welcome to the Learning Target number 7 video. The notes are somewhere near the back of your packet. Pretty basic learning target here. It's going to be a very review. It's just putting two of the things we already know together. I can plot points on a coordinate plane and then find the area of the figure. So it's just putting the coordinate plane plotting points together with finding the area of a figure. Now, this is just like the question. This is actually the question that's on the review sheet. Now that I'm pretty certain it is, or it's just like it. Basically, you need to find the area of it. So we're going to do a couple things on this one right here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to review how to plot points. So I'm kind of giving you an answer on the review sheet right now also at the same time. So we have X, or we have, what is it? So it's V, W, and X and Y. Okay? Okay, everything starts right here at the origin, as you guys recall, hopefully. Okay, and remember, as you guys learned, Superman always runs before he flies, or the example I always used to use with you guys was if you go into a hospital, you've got to walk either to the left or to the right to go to the elevator, and then once you go to the elevator, you go up or down. Okay? The first number in a coordinate is always your X. Okay? The X value, which is the horizontal values, that's the one that tells you whether to go to the right or to the left and by how many. The Y value, the Y value is the one that tells you to go up or down and by how many. Okay? So when we're trying to figure out like point V, for instance, when I look here, I go, okay, how many steps over did I have to go? Well, you should all be saying I went to 10, and then I went down to 1 to -3. Okay, so the first point would be 10, -3, and it always needs to be in parentheses like that. Now let's talk about W. You go over 1, down to -3. So this one is just going to be 1, -3. Okay, X, I'm going to go over 1, but this time I'm going to go up to 6. So this is going to be 1, 6. And for my Y, I'm going to go over to 10 and up to 6. Okay, so that's just basic review of how to plot points. Okay, this is the first number always tells you whether to go right or left. First of all, positives to the right, negatives to the left, and then it's going to tell you how many to go to the right or the left. And same with the Y then, which is going to tell you whether to go up or down and by how many you're going to go up or down. So what you're going to have to do on the test, you're going to be given something like this, and you're going to have to do that. Okay? And then you'll have to find the area of it. Now the area is fairly easy because this is a rectangle. It could be well, I guess it says it's a square. So this is a square. So very simply, you could just go through here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you could do 9 times 9 and get 81 that way. Okay? Now, the real way I want you to do it, I mean, that's fine if you're counting squares. That's okay. But the way I want you to do is to really be able to identify a base and a height. That's what we've got to get to. That's everything we've learned. Since this is a square, which is just a special type of rectangle, we know that that's the formula we use. So we should write the formula, just like we have been. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to find a base and a height. So I got to figure out how many, what's the distance from right here. Now I know that my W is at 1 right there, right? 1, and it goes to 10. So you could just say, well, that's 9. You could do it that way. Or you could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So my base is 9. Now my height, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or you could do like, remember like the questions where you'd have like sea level would be here, and you'd have a helicopter, and then you'd have a fish, something like that. That's kind of how the vertical part works. You can say, well, how far would it be to get back to 0? Well, that'd be 3, right? How far more did you have to go? 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. And then you just plug it into your formula. 9 times 9 is 81. Then, of course, we must have units. Now, there is no inches, centimeters, meters, miles, any of that stuff. We're just going to call it units squared, just like that. So, again, 3 points. Formula, answer, units. Okay? Now we got this one here. Now, again, let's just take a moment. I'd like everybody to take a moment, and I would like you to plot H, I, J, and K. I want you to tell me what those points are. Pause it and do it. Okay? So I know that point H, again, everything starts at the origin. I went left to -2, so that's my X value, and then I went down to -2. So there's my H. Now let's go to I. Okay, so I went left to -7 and down to -2. So that's going to be -7, -2. Okay, letter J. Again, I'm going to go left to -7, but this time I'm going to go all the way down to -7. So that one's -7, -7. And then point K, I go left to -2, and I went down to -7. Okay. Now, I know it says find the perimeter here. I know it says find the perimeter, but we're also going to find the area. Now, I recognize, first of all, that that's a rectangle. It could be a square. I don't know. It is a square, I think, is what it says up there. But regardless, it's that's the area formula. So we're going to do both. First of all, let's start with area. Okay, so let's count the base and the height. There's my right angle. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is my base. And my height's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just have a 5 by 5 square. So that's going to be 5 times 5, which is going to be 25 units squared. Okay, so you had to find the area of that. You didn't have to, but I'm making that part of it now. Okay, now let's recap on what perimeter is. Perimeter is the distance around a figure, no matter what the figure is. It could be any shape that you want to make. If I wanted to find the perimeter of that, it looks like a bird, okay, then I would add this distance plus this distance plus this distance plus that distance plus that distance. Imagine taking a string and attaching it all the way around the figure. And if you did that, what would the length of that string be? That is what perimeter is. So here we go. We got 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 5 is 20. So I know this is going to be 20 units. Now, real quick, I want to make special note of this. Look at that right there. We do not put squared on perimeter. Squared is only for area. Only for area. Area is always units squared, inches squared, meters squared. Perimeter is just a distance. It's a length. If I walked all the way around this thing, it would be 20 units long. Okay? That's all it's saying there. Okay? Let's go ahead and go to the next page. All right. Here we got it says solve using graph paper. We're not gonna do we won't use graph paper, but you should. But we'll have graph paper on the test. I promise. For the most part, I think we will anyway. So let's go ahead and just draw an XY. Do your best. Try to be neat with this. And if some of you get real sloppy on your notes, you want to be able to look at these someday. Always label your X and your Y. Again, your X is your horizontal, your Y is your vertical. Okay? So we're just going to go ahead and count it by ones. So just put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hopefully that's big enough. Do the same thing here. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay, now we're going to do our Y's. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. Okay. Obviously, it's much easier on grid paper because, like I said, you could actually count the squares. This is a little tricky because of that, but you'll see what I mean. So let's go ahead and plot these points. So I'm going to start. I'll plot P. Okay. So here's P. We're going to go from the origin right there. Do this in a different color. We're going to go left to -2, and then I'm going to go up to +2. So about right there is point P. Okay. Now, I want you guys to quickly plot Q, R, S, and T. Okay. All right, hopefully you've already done that. So Q would be go to -2, down to -2. So that's going to be Q. Okay, here we got R. So we're going to go left to, what was that? -4. And then we're going to go down to -5. That's going to be point R. Okay. Point S is going to be over to 1 down to -5, so right there, S, okay? And then finally T is going to be 3, -2. Just keep it in mind that when you're doing these, okay, first of all, knowing how to graph the coordinates, that's the first thing. And then once you get them graphed, being able to find the area. But that's just learning targets 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you need to review those, okay? Going back to the front here, let me pull this up 1 second. Going back to the front page of your notes, I just want them for your test tomorrow. I want you guys to be all ready to go, okay? Okay. Calculate the area of a parallelogram. I'm going to go ahead and write this for you. Parallelograms, that would include rectangles, is area equals base times height. Area of a triangle, area equals 1/2 base times height. Remember, a triangle is just half of a parallelogram. Calculate the area of a trapezoid. Area equals 1/2 the height times base 1 plus base 2. Keep in mind that the bases of a trapezoid are the two parallel sides. They are the two parallel sides. So if I were to give you a trapezoid that looks like that right there, the bases in this case would be the top and the bottom, right? But if it was flipped this way, and it was like that, and it was shrunk a little bit or whatever happened to it like that, now the bases are these two sides because those are the parallel sides. Okay? So just remember, the bases are always the one set of parallel sides that make a trapezoid. The height is always the distance between the parallel sides. So one way to think about this is you guys learned parallel as the train tracks example, right? You've always learned that. Okay? The height of a trapezoid is always going to be the distance between the train tracks. How far will they be apart forever and always? Okay? So that's that. Being able to decompose, learning target 4, decompose polygons. So to take something and then break it down into triangles and parallelograms. Pretty easy there. Just knowing these two formulas is all you got to do there. And then remember, learning target 5 is exactly what learning target 4 is. Same exact thing. And 6, this is what we worked on Friday and today. So if you need extra practice on the word problems, remember, identify the shape, find the area of the shape, make sure you're using the right formula, and then go from there. And then plot points on a coordinate plane. That's what we just did now. So that's exactly what's going to be on the test tomorrow. Real quick, if I gave you a rectangle like this, and it was 8 by 5, so 8 feet by 5 feet, and I told you to find the area of it, just remember, this question right here will be worth 3 points. If that's all it said, find the area of this. 3 points. Again, the 3 points are correct formula. Again, don't get annoyed because I'm going to count off if you don't have it. Think of it as, wow, he's giving me a free point for writing a formula that I'm already going to know. Because I know a lot of you just want to go ahead and put 40. But if you wrote 40 for this, it's going to be 2 out of 3 points off. You're going to lose 2 points, which means you got a 1 out of 3 on that question, which means you got a 33% on that question, which is an F on that question. Okay, if you got 40, then you know this, so why not just write it? So I just want you guys to be aware of that. So when I'm looking at this here, I'm looking for the formula, I'm looking for the answer 40, but then I'm also looking for units. Remember, area is always units squared. So that goes for everything on the test. Anytime you're finding area, you're going to write the formula, you're going to get an answer, obviously, and then you're going to have units squared for area. Okay? That's just your reminder. Go back and review any videos that you feel are necessary. Thanks, guys.